Good afternoon. This is the Reverend Sylvester Hampton. Once again, welcome to my page, my channel, One Man of God Unfiltered. It's One Man of God Unfiltered. Thank you for allowing me to share this moment with you. Um, this lesson is a lesson that it was a continuation from our last lesson. As promised, I said that I was going to talk about accessories to after the fact, being an accessory after the fact. When we're talking about God's law, it's a law. And God has His ways of doing things, and when He sets forth His rules and regulations, when you violate that, that's a crime. A crime is something that is punishable. Sometimes it's depending on the severity of the crime, punishable by death. In our case, it could be a spiritual death. So this is I'm going on. I'm talking about a marriage from hell. I've already told you what a marriage from hell is, and I'm talking about not only the perpetrators of that crime is going to be punished, but the people who are sitting around watching that crime being committed and do nothing can be punished also. When I say that, it's just like I told you, like I was a police officer, and being a police officer, if there was a bank robbery that's taking place, and they robbed a bank, and in the midst of them robbing the bank, they killed somebody. So now they not only robbed a bank, they killed someone. So that's a bank robbery along with a murder. So if you hide that person in your house, knowing what he or she did, then and you give that person comfort and safety, and they get caught and they find out that you gave them comfort and safety, well, you're guilty of what they were guilty of also, because everybody involved in that crime can be charged with the same thing, if they really want to, because you gave that person, after the crime, you gave them comfort and you gave them legitimacy by hiding them in your place, and you're allowing them to be comfortable, and you've given them a badge of legitimacy by accepting them into your fold. In this case, you're hiding them in your house. You're allowing them to hide the proceeds of the crime in your house so they wouldn't get caught. And that's what's happening when we come back to the marriage from hell, for example. When you know that man or woman left their spouses that they set up, and they did a holy matrimony, they did a covenant before God that they were going to be with that person till death do part, and they allowed somebody to come and steal their heart, and they turned their backs on their family and married this person that was not the crime was committed, that you stole that spouse from the person that God joined together. He said, let no one put a cinder to what he joined together. That means breaking it apart. And if you saw that happening and you know of it happening, you're just as guilty of allowing that person to come back into your fold, and unscathed, like nothing ever happened. Shame on you. God don't like that, especially if the woman, the wife that he left, is still a member of your church. If you allow that man, if he's stupid enough to come back to your church and his ex-wife that he left is sitting there. Every time she sees him with his chest poked out and walking with that woman that stole her husband from her, then that's like that scab, that sore will never heal, because she's going through a grieving stage, and you are allowing that. Every time she sees that person, you're allowing that to fungus, and that's not right. Church members, don't allow him to come back to the church anymore. He's banished. He's banished. Because not only are you allowing him to come back in the church, you're legitimizing what he did. And you can't legitimize anyone that committed a crime. There are consequences of his actions. He left his family and turned his back on his family and his wife. And vice versa. The same goes if the man steals the wife from the husband. Same thing. But because I'm talking to men, I'm talking to you. Whenever you allow that woman that's from the far country come in between you and your wife, that you stood before God and you created a covenant with God, and you took that wife of yours from the covering of her father, and you told the father that you were going to take care of his daughter. He gave that daughter to you. You have no right to just up and quit that woman because you thought that something looked better. That's not right, because you were supposed to stay with that woman until death do part. Okay? I'm addressing the people who are allowing that to go forth in their presence and not doing anything. Accessories to the crime after the fact. And when you go to their wedding, give them a card, congratulations card, and go to the bridal showers and everything, and you giving them gifts, you are bringing curse upon yourself, because you are legitimizing that crime. You should not participate in a wedding from hell, because you're legitimizing it. After they get married, or so-called married, and he wants to parade his new wife around, he should not be allowed to come to that church. The pastor of that church, if he sees that, he should stop the service. Stop the service and get his deacons to escort that person and that wicked woman out. Because that will send a signal to everybody else in that church that is not allowed. And if you leave your wife, that you guys were members of that church, and you leave with your wife for the far off country woman that's coming in there and steal you away from your wife and children, there are consequences of your actions. You should never ever be accepted back into the fold as you were, like nothing happened. And the people in that church, you're no longer a part of the family anymore. You need to go. And you're not welcome in that environment anymore. Because if you allow that person to come into that environment, you have just brought shame and damnation to your church. There's supposed to be consequences of your actions. Got to be. When God puts something together, nothing should be able to take it apart without a curse. Period. And you should not legitimize it by giving them gifts. You should not legitimize it by saying Mr. and Mrs. You should not legitimize it by saying congratulations. Congratulations on committing a crime. How's that? There's no congratulations. There's nothing proud of that, because all he's doing is going to become a stepdaddy of another heathen's children. That's nothing, no honor in being a stepdaddy. You have sacrificed your legacy for your children for another man's children, a heathen's children, and you got a heathen wife. Come on. There's nothing proud about that. Now, it's different if your wife has passed and you are a widower. That's different. And your children are grown. That's different. But I'm talking your wife, and you left your wife and children, and your wife is still alive, and you left her for that woman from the far country because you thought you can do better. Okay. You have sacrificed a happy home, because that what you've gained is nothing more than chaos. There are consequences of your actions from leaving God's union, but God put together that no man come between. So there is quite, when you bring a if you are participating in a marriage from hell, there is no life in a marriage from hell. None. You might as well, it's on the same plane as you as a preacher trying to unite a man and a woman and a woman through holy matrimony. Same principle, because that is considered a union of death, because life can't be sustained when you have a woman and a man together. Life can't be sustained. That's a dead end relationship, because God wanted us to be fruitful and multiply. How the heck can two men and two women together be fruitful and multiplying? Answer. I'll wait. Without outside help. When God put together a man and a woman, they are one flesh, and they don't need any outside help, because they become one, and they have sex with each other, producing children. What can a man and a woman do? That's the dead end. That's death. You can't pass anything on. The only thing they can do is get an outside help, and God you can't create outside help. When God put together a man and a wife, a man and a woman, they don't need any outside help. That's normal. That's God's idea of marriage. And if you pastors stupid enough to try to marry something like that, you brought curse upon your church. And I'm telling you, all you people right now, if you're in the midst of a shepherd that will marry a man and a woman together, you are in a place that is a social club, a building that you can rent to the highest bidder. God ain't even in there. So if you're expecting God to be present at his house, that's not God's house. That's not God's house. And you're truly, truly, truly a squatter. God's not even there. God's not even there. You can't, so that's the same thing. All of that's the same. A marriage from hell, man and a woman married. God's not there. and you're renting the house of who's supposedly the house of God that's dedicated to God. The owner of the place is not even present. He's been evicted because God gives life, and He can also take it away. He'll take His hands off of you and allow Satan to take you. When God's got His hands against you, you will never prosper. Never. When God's got His hands against you, you will never prosper. You will never save anything, and nothing is going to be happening in your behalf, because God can't bless that. His word is final. He can't bless that. It's virtually impossible for God to bless trash. So, pastors, the people that attended the wedding, the people that are legitimizing that kind of a wedding, the people that are allowing them to come into your midst, into your church, and letting them sit in your pews and in the company of them after they've committed that crime, you could be cursed too. Men, if you have a friend that was once your friend, and him and his wife used to come to your house and play and let your kids play with them and everything, y'all used to barbecue together, and he did that. He left his wife and married this heathen woman. You have no business being a friend of his anymore. He's not welcome into your house, because you will bring damnation to your house. And not only that, if your daughter is sitting there and your son is sitting there, they're going to think it's okay. They're going to think it's okay because they're looking at every single thing that you do and say. Action speaks louder than words. So if you allow that in your house and you didn't turn your back on that person, shame on you. Because not only are you letting your kids see that it's okay, they may end up doing something like that too. There's no upside in a crime like that. He can only bring shame and damnation to everybody that he's associated with. So the best thing to do is that light and darkness can't occupy the same space. Just like oil and water, they don't mix. So it'll be your duty to turn your back on some garbage like that. He's no longer welcome in your house, and he have to leave. That's what you got to do. That is the consequences of you leaving your wife and children to marry that heathen woman. You don't do that. There are consequences. And when you give them safe haven in your church and safe haven in your house, you can be cursed also. So you do not allow them, once he leaves his wife for a woman that stole his heart from his wife, and he leaves his wife, you should never ever consider him a friend anymore, and you cannot give him a safe haven, because you are harboring a fugitive. They're fugitives. You're harboring a fugitive, and you can be punished too for harboring a fugitive and giving them safe haven. You can't legitimize a crime. And that's the ultimate crime, because that's a crime against God. God created marriage. He says Sickness and health, death do part. Poor, weakness and poor. I don't give a doggone. Sickness and in health, till death do you part. Those words mean something. That's a covenant with God. And remember, marriage is a duty. It's a duty. Because it's a duty and a promise to God that you're going to stick it out. And and men, you're creating a legacy of God when you produce some children. Those are your legacy. Just as you are legacy to God. Amen. I think that I've covered everything that needs to be covered. Let me check. I told you that it says that it's the family. If you allow them to come into your household, your family can be tarnished too, because your children are watching the actions that you are doing. So if you are legitimizing and allowing that crime to come into your house, you are jeopardizing your house, your castle. You are the head of household. You have to protect your house. You can't allow that to come into your house. Okay? Because you're bringing damnation to your house. Okay, so that's you as the spiritual person that is supposed to guide and protect your house. You're not protecting your house if you allow that to come. Okay? All your friends should know that once you have made that crime, you can't be associated with them anymore. Period. That's cut and dry. And then you may say, well, Reverend Hampton, isn't it kind of harsh to stop the whole service and embarrass them like that? No, it's not. It's not. It's not, because what you're doing is you're showing everybody, all them families and all them head of households, that you mean business and that you, as a Levite, are going to do what you're supposed to do. You are supposed to protect your church family. You are in charge of all them families' spiritual upkeep. God puts you in charge, and you have to protect all them other families. So, you don't care about their feelings. Remember, feelings will send you straight to hell because it's fleshy. He's got a lot of nerve to bring you to parade that marriage from hell in front of y'all in the first place. You don't owe him no consideration. You don't owe him any consideration. God's word is harsh. It has nothing to do with a feeling. It has to do with righteousness. So you stop the service and get them deacons to escort that person and out. And after you do that, you let everybody know that stuff don't go in your church. And you rally behind the woman that he left, because she's going through a grieving stage. You got to uplift her and that family. That's the trueness of the consequences of the actions. You don't allow that man to bring that wife in there, a so-called wife, a husband. That's not a marriage. You don't bring that trash in your church. I don't know what the heck to call it, because it's not a marriage. Okay? I want you to know that there are consequences of God's word, violating God's word. There are it's a bitter word, but it's gonna you take it, and it's gonna lead you. God's words gives life, not death. That marriage from hell is death. Marriage between a man, woman is death. There's no upside to that. And there's no upside to a man of God even trying to unite that. Okay? I don't know what that was. That's a doggone monster movie or something. That's nothing. I want you to know that I have given you what the Holy Spirit gave me. And I want to thank you for allowing me to spend this time with you. I want to thank you, and you have all my prayers. I'm continuing praying for each and every one of you to be prosperous in this year. I'm praying that to the men that you have that God gives you the wisdom and the strength to carry on, to protect and cover your family. I pray that your wife is going to be continue to be your helper. And let me tell you something, men. Your helper is every woman that you can ever can imagine, because you have to show her how to love you. So if she's doing something that you don't like, if she's doing something that you wish she could do, she's just waiting for you to let her know. She's a piece of clay. She's pliable. She's waiting for you to mold her the way you want to mold her. She wants to please you. That's how a wife is. She's a helper. She will cooperate with you. If you desire anything your little heart desire, she will do it. That's what a wife does. But a lot of us men, a lot of times, we're thinking that they're supposed to be tailor-made to us without any work or input in from us. No. It's a lot of input in there. You're the one that has to mold her to your specifications. And if by the time you get through and you mold her the way you want her molded, she will stay, because she knows that she's going to do everything to please her husband. That's what a wife do, cooperative. God created her that way. So she'll do whatever you want her to do. A father, when he turns his daughters over to you, you will be probably the only man that's even touched her. And you are the ultimate measuring stick that she has. So you don't have to worry about another person embedding or imprinting themselves on her. You the one. And you can do anything you want to let her know that you love her, and let her know that you're a team. That's how it goes. God's blueprint to marriage is sacred, and it makes all the sense in the world. It's just a simple thing. Men, if she's not doing what you want her to do, that's your fault. She's ready. Just let her know. Show her. She's your wife. You're her husband. The Bible says your own husband. As your own husband. She is going to be submissive to you. So, it's just a simple thing. And any woman that comes to try to come between you, you got all the woman you want right there. You should not have any desire for anybody else, because she is everything that you wanted, because you created that. Show her patience. Don't be lazy. You got to put some work in. If she's not doing what you want, or she's not what you want, then it's your fault. Show her. Amen. I got off a little bit, but marriage is so sacred. Marriage is so simple because when you get before God and you make these promises and everything, and you 1 + 1 becomes 1, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, and it's a duty. It's a duty. I want you to know that I love you. I love you very much. I want you to know that you have all my respect and all my love, and I do this because I have a passion for getting our families together and men together, showing men that you have to take your rightful place. And nothing, absolutely nothing happens without your input. And as a man of God, you have been given so much of the responsibility of this world. We all have, but he's given us dominion. And he provided us a helper that is going to carry your children, your seed, and for you. It's just a simple message. Let's step into it. Step into it. Amen? I want you to know that I love you, and there ain't nothing. I love you very much, and there is nothing you can do about it. This is Reverend Sylvester Hampton once again. Until the next time, I want you to be prosperous, to remember God. Men, teach God's ways to your family because you are the gatekeeper to God's word. And you are more than a conqueror. You are a son of God. Amen, amen, and amen. I want you to have a good one until the next time. Bye-bye.